All right, welcome everybody to Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for Tuesday, June 16th, 2015, right here at Taft City Hall. As a convenience and a request and a courtesy to all, would you please check your phone and make sure that they are on vibrate or mute. In fact, I'll do mine right now. Tonight we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, and if I would have Councilman Knorr lead that. And we have Kay Sullivan, who with the West Kern Christian Center will lead our invocation. So will you please stand?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would join me please as we salute our nation's flag. Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kay Sullivan? He's not here. Not here? Yeah, Bob Jordan, would you lead us in an invocation tonight, please?
I would be delighted.
Thank you.
Okay. Dear wise and loving Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who gathered here today. Thank you for the wisdom to embrace and the freedom to know you or reject you. Thank you for loving us so much, your boundless, gracious nature. In your help, we thank you for the governing authorities that you have established for those who promote peace and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor and various levels of city officials, and in particular, this assembled council. I am asking that you would graciously grant each and every one of them wisdom to govern all conflicting interests and issues of our times, the sense of welfare and needs of our people, a keen sense of justice and righteousness, confidence is what's good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony and in love, even when there's an honest disagreement. In the name and through the power of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bob. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Miller?
Here. Usually not first, sorry.
Mayor Pro Tem Knorr?
Here.
Councilmember Bryant?
Here.
Councilmember Hill? Here. And Councilmember Cryer?
Here.
Tonight, we have an agenda, but item number 4, I'd like to move up to item number 1 so we don't have to subject the Taft girls baseball team or softball team to the rest of the agenda. We have a certificate of recognition Taft Union High School girls softball team. The city of Taft recognizes, and the city council recognizes, the Taft Union High School girls softball team for their Division III championship win for the 3rd year in a row. And we would like to we have the coach, Russell Emerson. Russell, would you kind of come up and give us a little...
All right. We got moved up this year to Division III.
Wow.
We won the last 2 years in Division IV. We actually played, 4 years ago, we played in the championship too. We lost 1-0. A little bit in our league, we're currently on a 52-game winning streak. We're 52-0 in league. The last 4 years, we're 48-0. And, the girls have played outstanding. We faced the same team 3 years in a row, Liberty Madeira, up just north of Fresno there, outside of Madeira. And we beat them the last 3 years, 9-3, 6-0, and 1-0. And girls had an outstanding season this year again. And, we'll continue to build, and hopefully we'll be back again next year and do this again.
You have a couple of your girls leaving this year.
You guys stand up, please. So, on the side, this is a sophomore, going to be a junior. Olivia Orley played center field for us and was all-area, all-league pick this year. Josie Burke, senior, so she's graduating. She's going on. She's going to play at COS this next year.
All right.
Play softball. She's also an all-league, all-area pick this year. Caitlin Emerson, also all-league, all-area pick. She was our league MVP and not out yet, but when it gets released, she'll also be the all-area MVP this year also. and she's going to Charleston Southern University on a softball scholarship.
She's kind of special to you, isn't she?
Yeah, she's kind of special to me, but they're all special to me. So next one here, Arizona Pilgrim. She's our pitcher. She's been there. They've been pitcher catcher for the last 4 years. That's one of the reasons we've had such a great run here. But she's also our league MVP, co-MVP, because they've been for the last 4 years co-MVP in our league, and she is also going to be the co-all-area player of the year this year also. And she's also on a full ride scholarship going to Charleston Southern University, so they're going to continue their college experience together back in South Carolina. So they'll be leaving in August. And then behind them is one of our twins, Katie Evans. She's a junior, going to be a senior for me next year, and she's going to step up. She'll be one of our pitchers to step up next year, but played a great shortstop this year for us, and did a great job, all around for us. So got another year from her. And then some of the other girls we're missing. Her sister, Corey, not here, played third base. If you saw a couple of games, especially the championship game, she made some spectacular catches for us at third base in foul territory to, get some outs when you need them. So, some of the other girls didn't make it, but just really thank you guys for recognizing the girls and give them opportunity to come and be in front of you guys.
Well, they not only represent Taft High, they also represent the community and the whole west side, and we're all so proud of them and for their accomplishments, and Coach, you too, and nurturing these young women and for their ability to go off and get scholarships and go to college. I mean, that's what it's all about. So that's great. So we'd like for you, if you could come up, we'd like to get a photo op up here with our seal.
Girls all up too?
Yeah.
Make room for the
We're not Ben Scully, but we know you got a picture with him.
Still in there.
Justin, you guys get the girls in the middle, and I'll shoot it from down here and make it a lot easier for everybody.
I'm about to sit next to Olivia because we're both the short ones up there. All right.
She's taller. Okay. There we go. You're taller. Wait, we got 50 years.
That's good. All fine. That's good. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Kay's taller than me too.
Okay. All right, here we go. Get on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Awesome. Let's go. Hey, thank you.
Coach Emerson, thank you so much. Unless you really want to do a school project, you want to stay for civics, and otherwise you're dismissed. Thank you. All right. Now we get on to the mundane city business. Item number 1, public hearing, zoning ordinance amendment 2015 to 16, prohibiting hookah lounges. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Taft is making efforts to promote a healthy community. As such, the City Council has directed staff to address and make necessary revisions to the zoning ordinances with regard to harmful effects of tobacco use. There are documented health risks associated with smoking tobacco products. However, smoking tobacco products with the use of water pipes and/or hookah has not shown to mitigate or eliminate these health risks. Attached is a proposed amendment to Chapter 1, 5, and 6 of the City of Taft zoning ordinance, which includes definitions of hookahs, hookah lounges, along with their prohibition in the Taft's commercial and industrial zoning districts. At the May 20th, 2015 Planning Commission meeting, City staff presented the final draft of the amendment, which was approved unanimously, and no further additions or deletions. Therefore, staff recommends that City Council approve the amendments of Chapter 1, 5, and 6 of Title 6 of the Taft zoning ordinance regarding hookah lounges.
All right. First order of business is to conduct a public hearing, and I open the public hearing and wish to entertain anybody that wants to come down and have us speak on behalf for or against this ordinance. Seeing nobody that would like to speak, I'll close the public hearing and move on to item 2, motion. I need, entertain a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Chapters 1, 5, and 6 of the City of Taft zoning ordinance relating to hookah lounges for first reading by title only and reading of such be waived.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Cryer?
I have no comment on it because there's been, a lot's been said already about the lounge and stuff, but just an issue that those lounges invite crime, and there's not enough already in Taft. We don't need any more as far as enticing more people to break the law. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Hill?
Have nothing.
Mr. Bryant?
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. North?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will come before the council, and obviously we'll all decide whether or not we support it of our own affair. I myself don't see a real benefit to the community for this. I don't see a benefit at all regarding the use of it. And one of the things that we have to do, we live in a very small community. So the placement of places such as this or tobacco lounges is difficult in the community when you think about the protection zones placed around daycare centers and places where young people congregate. It gets very difficult in a very small community. Therefore, we have to take extra care in it. I'm glad this came before the council. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And this kind of goes along with our ordinances against the bath salts ordinance that we passed a few months back. It's just, we're trying to provide a healthy community, healthy lifestyles, and we don't need our children to be exposed to these kind of products. So, Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Noor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller?
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote, and will be coming back to us for a second reading. Is that right, Mr. Epperson?
Yes.
All right, item number 2, public hearing, zoning ordinance amendment 2015-07, private smoking lounges and sales of tobacco products.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry.
Effective on January 1st, 1995, the state of California adopted Labor Code Section 6404.5 prohibiting smoking of tobacco products in all enclosed places of employment within the state, thereby eliminating the need for local government to enact workplace smoking restrictions within their respective jurisdictions. However, the state of California has not prohibited tobacco sales or use in all commercial instances. The state has exempted private smoking lounges and permits the sales of tobacco products so as long as the business obtains a cigarette tobacco license from the Board of Equalization. Attached are the proposed amendments to Chapter 1, 5, 6, and 12 of the zoning ordinance. The amendments include requirements for all private smoking lounges and tobacco shops to have an approved conditional use permit reviewed and approved by the City of Taft Planning Commission. CUP is required if the business uses all or part of the space for a lounge or sales of tobacco products. The use, sales of e-cigarettes, vaporized cigarettes, and private smoking lounges and tobacco shops are included in the definitions in each use and are subject to the CUP application requirements. At the May 20, 2015 Planning Commission meeting, City of Taft presented the final draft of the amendment, which was approved unanimously with no further additions or deletions. Therefore, staff recommends the City Council approves the amendments to Chapter 1, 5, 6, and 12 of Title 6 of the Taft zoning ordinance regarding hookah lounge.
Okay. I'll conduct a public hearing on this issue, and we'll open the public hearing. Do anybody wish to come forward or speak for or against this ordinance? Seeing nobody that would like to come forward, I'll close the public hearing and I go to item number 2. Entertain a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code entitled an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Chapters 1, 5, 6, and 12 of the City of Taft zoning ordinance relating to private smoking lounges and the sales of tobacco product for the first reading by title only and reading of such be waived.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Bryant.
Well, I myself am not immune to liking a fine cigar every now and again. I've enjoyed the cigar bar down on 17th Street in Bakersfield from time to time, but I think it's in the city's best interest to be strategic and when and where we do allow these sorts of things, so as we don't it is a relatively small segment of the population compared to everyone else. We're trying to attract a swath of people down to the downtown area, or anywhere else in town for that matter. So again, it's important for us to be strategic, in my opinion, when and where we allow these sorts of things.
Michelle?
Nothing, thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Nor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One of the things that we are looking at, and after all, there is still a process that one can go through if indeed they wanted to pursue the opening of a business like this. However, we have seen a proliferation of these types of facilities. There are lots of different places to buy tobacco products. And in point of fact, one of the ordinances we passed regarding the bath salts and spice, these types of places is where one would go to buy those other things that we wanted out of our community. Here again, with regard to healthy living, healthy lifestyles, and what we put out in front of our children, I believe this is the right thing to do. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Cryer?
And I have more of a question is, so if a business wants to invite some people smoke in a private room and stuff for, say, cigar smoking, and have a nice evening with some clients, is that prohibited? Would be prohibited from that?
They would have to apply for a CUP for a private smoking lounge.
Well, it's not, well, it's like for occasional, you know, they say, come down here and have a beer and have a few cigars. That's not like a daily use.
That's prohibited by state law unless it's registered as a private smoking lounge. Meaning a bar owner couldn't invite his friends down to have cigarettes unless the bar was closed for business. Then he could.
Question I have, and I have no comment.
Oh, okay, guess it's my turn. Got lost there. I had a question, and one of the reporters that was here questioned me about the cigar lounges, but, you know, it would depend, and the permit process and what, and where, and how, and, you know, how it's managed, and, you know, public display and sales of, and that kind of thing. So it's not totally prohibited, but we would look at it, but we're putting these ordinances and getting kind of out of the head of the game for what may be coming down as the community grows. And so I think the city and the planning commission and all the people involved in these help put the ordinance together, understand that, you know, we're trying to provide a healthy lifestyle, a healthy community, and should set an example for our children. So, Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem North?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller?
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. Thank you. Item number 3, public hearing, zoning ordinance amendment 2014-13, meaning this item, the 13th item of this 14th year. Emergency shelters, transitional and supportive housing. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. In 2007, the state legislature passed the Senate Bill 2, otherwise known as Bill for Local Planning and Approval for Emergency Shelters and Transitional and Supportive Housing. The bill amended housing element law to ensure local zoning ordinances encouraged and facilitated emergency shelters and limited the denial of emergency shelters and transitional and supportive housing consistent with the Housing Accountability Act. The city needs to complete the amendment as a step in updating the housing element for its 5th cycle of years 2013 through 2023, which is due December 2015. The April 8th, 2015 Planning Commission meeting, city staff presented the final draft of the amendment with HCD revisions included, which was approved unanimously with no additional additions or deletions. Therefore, staff recommends City Council approves the amendments to chapters 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 12 of the Title 6 of the zoning ordinance regarding emergency shelters, transitional and supportive housing.
Okay, recommended action is that we conduct a public hearing. Again, I'll open a public hearing on this ordinance, and if anybody wishes to come down and speak on behalf or against this ordinance, we'd appreciate hearing from you. And are we debating, ladies, or?
Going once.
I'm ready.
Going
One
twice.
right. Come on down. Would you state your name and your address, please?
Hi, I'm Sherry Reitmer with Sharon Corporation, nonprofitable organization, And we would like to propose an option as far as transitional housing programs. And so I'm not sure quite how, I've never done this before, but it would be a three-phase, three-year program, because our belief is that if you just hand somebody a house, that they're not used to having a house, it's a setup for failure. So to create the tools throughout a three-year program so that a person ends up reprogramming, because a lot of this is generational. They have reprogramming classes. They end up with tools, learning how to do checkbooks, how to do finances, how to clean up their credit. Of course, this program would be that, that they would have to be willing, and they would be drug tested every single week, et cetera. So this is just the beginning. And so that's what we have a vision of and an idea of. And it is for poverty. And there is no transitional program even in Kern County at this point. So really, the success rate, actually it's a failure rate of 66% of anybody going into housing and then ending up back on the streets or back in the system. So this is a whole program to try and actually people getting off the system within the first year. By the second year, they have a job, they're paying for an apartment. By the third year, hopefully, they are now a homeowner and they're a contribution to the community.
At this time, do you have any issues with our ordinance that we're putting in place?
No.
Not really? Okay.
No.
So this is an ordinance mandated by the state that we put in place. It doesn't say that the city of Taft has to open a shelter.
Right, okay.
Okay. So we're setting up this ordinance. If you want to set up a shelter, or that some other organization, or if the city of Taft gets awash in money that we can afford to open and run a shelter, then we've got an ordinance in place to handle that.
Okay.
But this was mandated by the state, and we're updating our ordinances, and this is required. Of course, they're not telling us to have shelters. They would like us to, but it's all based on budgetary concerns. So.
Right. Okay.
So if you are planning to do something, then you can contact our planning department, and they can walk you through the process and what you need to do.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for speaking up. Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending chapters 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 12 of the City of Taft zoning ordinance relating to emergency shelters, transitional and supportive housing, for the first reading by title only and reading of such to be waived.
Motion. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Knorr?
Just housekeeping and necessity, like say compliance with state law. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Cryer?
No comment.
Teal? Ms. Hillman?
No comment.
Mr. Bryant?
No comment.
Okay, and I have no comment. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Knorr?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. We went past item 4, now we're on item 5, citizens' request for public comment. Do we have anybody wishing to speak tonight in our public comment?
Okay.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 6, council statements, non-action. Mr. Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure everybody survived the great windstorm and rainstorm we had last week. It was quite a surprise to all of us, and I've been through some tropical storms and monsoon weather and one little hurricane, but this was like we were in the middle of a hurricane for at least 15 minutes. Boy, it really was something. I had some guests from Imperial Valley. He goes, boy, it's the worst I've ever been also. And down there, a lot of monsoon weather down there in that part of the world. But it was pretty nasty. So I hope everybody survived and they learned from what could happen. Where the floods coming from, doors or gates, whatever. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to have some sandbags for the future, so in case they have it, if something does rain like that, they can throw some sandbags in that area to divert the water. Hopefully to an area where it's safe, where it goes into a storm drain, not to your neighbor. But it's an experience, so take it as that for any losses. Another thing I had a comment was, yesterday I had an opportunity to go to Bakersfield to a meeting about new water restrictions they're going to be imposing, and David Couch is promoting, his talk is that it's better for local people to control the water in our area, the use of it, the monitoring of it, and the rules and regulation. If we don't have local control, then the state will do it. And I'm a firm backer of David Couch's, what he's trying to do in his program. And I was really impressed with the meeting. There's a lot of people were there talking. Some of it made sense, some of it was kind of off the wall from different speakers, but listening to hear what other public comment had to say about it, and so I use that as a learning experience for myself, and keep it local control. Personally, I think when the government gets involved with something like that, it creates problems. They mandate things that's not reasonable, a paper cutter thing, one rule for all people, and it just don't work that way. It gets so far down that each individual domestic well will be controlled, how much water you can take and use. It can come to that. And to me is, if you have this is a simple deal. I have a domestic well, and not where I live at, I'm in the city, but other properties I have. And if you lose your water, or use so much you lose your water table, that comes with the territory. You're not going to just use it purposely and waste the water. You have to either lower your bowl in the well, or drill a deeper well, another well. And people are very prudent on that. They're not going to waste your water, but why would government come here and tell you how much water you use in your house? And to me, that's subjective. Depends on how many kids you have, how big your household is, and your lawn, you have a garden, no garden. It's all subjective. And I don't like it when they get intrusive in our personal lives and our business lives. But that's another deal. We'd have local control than our state government, because I don't trust our politicians in Sacramento. Other than that, that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Mr. Bryant.
Well, to keep it a little bit more lighthearted, because I know these guys like to talk about the real issues because they're smart, and I like to have a lot of fun. This weekend, thank you, Doug, for the great picture, but I was fortunate enough to be part of the Westside Little League's participation, got it, in the District 61 Tournament of Champions. I'll be honest with you, this year Little League has been one of the best years I can remember. It's been some of the most fun we've had. And at the end of the day, we've all been possibly to the Condors hockey games where they have the chuck-a-puck competition. Take a foam puck, you throw it down on the ice, and at the same time you just get a rainstorm of orange foam raining down on the ice. And so we kind of stole that idea, and we thought we'd put a baseball spin on it as a fundraiser for the kids there. And we had what we call Fling-a-Thing. Take a tennis ball that was numbered and try to get the kids, and even the parents, to throw it out there and make it into the bucket. And the prize was a $100 bill, cash money if you made it in. And fortunately for the league, nobody made it in. We raised close to $300 last night for the kids. And my end of the bargain was if we sold all those balls, I'd let them dump a 5-gallon bucket of ice water over my head. Don't everybody worry, because we made sure to do it on the grass so the water was reused. It wasn't wasted. But again, courtesy of some of the Eldorado Maids of Petroleum, Madison Rubidoux and Aaron Robeson were the lucky ladies who got to dump the ice water over my head. But like I said before, it was a win-win for me because we raised money for the kids and it was only 100 degrees outside, so I got a nice cool off. But I want to thank everybody in the community that helped raise awareness, was even there in attendance. The Westside Rec for all the work they put into the fields for the kids. And as another point of pride, both of our teams who played in championship games yesterday came away with the championship trophy. So congratulations to the Bandits in the minors division and the Yankees in the majors division. So that's all I've got. Go Taft. Thanks, guys.
Ms. Hill?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Well, kind of going along with what Councilman Cryer was talking about, a lot of state folks in the legislature want to have regional control centers. And that regional control is for like the cemetery district, water district, mosquito abatement district, rec district. And they just want to take that away from local control. And, you know, League of Cities and League of Counties, they're fighting that, and there's a special districts association, but there is a real thought process about having a kingdom up in Fresno that's going to tell us all down here in the lower valley of what we're going to do with our water and mosquitoes and recreation and cemetery. And it's, they have better ideas. They know better what's better for us because they're up there, not here. So it's never going to work, but they keep trying and keep trying. I'm sorry that I wasn't here for the great 100-year rainstorm. I happened to be on vacation, and actually that same night I had some thunderstorms hovering over our head, but I was in Wyoming at the time. But we finally got our navigable waterway with some water in it, by golly. Water won't happen again in 50 years, but we had some water flowing down Sandy Creek. It's unfortunate that although there was a lot of water, we needed it, but it came down in torrents, and unfortunately a number of homes in the area got flooded, and that's very tragic for those folks. Although most of those folks had homeowners insurance, there is no coverage for water that comes out of the sky. So there was no, unless they bought a separate flood insurance policy, and why would you buy that policy in Taft, California? I mean, it never floods here until it did. And it's really sad and unfortunate that that happened. But it makes people, too, that have insurance policies on their homes or whatever property they have is, you might want to go back and check your policy over. Because being an old insurance guy from years past, there's exclusions in every policy. And one of the main exclusions is earthquake and flooding. And both of those programs are, earthquake is sold by the state, and flooding is sold by the federal flood control program, or whatever they call it. So, too little, too late for those folks. Apparently, we didn't get much warning that, Mr. Nora was telling me that there was a 20% chance of rain that very morning, and we got more than 20%. So for all those folks that lost property and had damage, we're sincerely sorry for you, and if there's anything that we can do in the city and your neighbors and friends and family, let us know. So again, Mr. Jones, we'll move on to city manager statements. Do you have anything tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. I have none tonight.
Mr. Mayor, beg your pardon, sir. I managed to skip the city council statements. Can I speak for a minute?
Sure. Did I skip you?
Well, yeah, you did, but that's all right, because you're just back from vacation, and I spoke as the mayor a bunch while you were gone. So.
Well, I thought I did it on purpose, but you caught me, so.
No, just briefly.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's quite all right. The mayor and I did have an opportunity to discuss the Great Taft Flood. As a matter of fact, I knew he was gone, so I took video of Sandy Creek, and I sent it to him so that he would know what was going on. And it was interesting because I was at my yard when this happened. I looked at Sandy Creek on the way to the yard, and I will tell you at 3:30 p.m., Sandy Creek was a very dusty, dry creek bed. And it was devoid of any moisture whatsoever. At 5:30, it was a raging torrent, and I took video of it right at Airport Road. And then the following morning at 5:15 on my way to work, I took another picture of it, and it was moist, but there was no water left in it. When I took the video at 5:30 in the afternoon, the day of the rains, I watched 3 grocery carts tumbling down with the water. And it reminded me, and that's why I want to talk about it, of all the work that everybody put into cleaning out Sandy Creek. City staff put a great deal of time into securing the permit, and we had loads of volunteers. The public works guys all busted their rumps. We had guys from the county. A lot of people worked very, very hard. And in the end, the water that got into Sandy Creek stayed in Sandy Creek, all the way through the city of Taft, out to the terminus of Sandy Creek, which is a very brackish water table. So once it got there, the problem downtown was getting it from South Taft into Sandy Creek. However, I just want to once again point out that Sandy Creek is and always has been a flood control ditch through what is the watershed in the city of Taft. Not a warm freshwater habitat ideal for contact and non-contact water sports, which, by the way, that sounds silly, but by definition, that's what Sacramento called Sandy Creek. Warm freshwater habitat ideal for contact and non-contact water sports. So hats off to everybody.
Think it killed a few lizards that day?
I think anything that lived in there that we tried to get out of there might have drowned. But hats off to all the people that worked very hard, including Public Works, and the city manager reminded me that they also shored up some of the bridges. Back when the bridges were built, there was a simple way to go about shoring things up, and it had been compromised, and staff looked at it, and they were very proactive in shoring it up and retrofitting it so that those bridges didn't get destroyed, because finding the money to replace a bridge these days is a very difficult task at $1 million a throw, perhaps. So it got rainy and it got wet and it happened in a god-awful hurry. But like the mayor said, he was out of town, can't blame that one on him. Congratulations to everybody for making it through there. And then the following morning, I want to thank everybody for working so hard, because the following morning we had Caltrans work through the night. County people were cleaning up all the debris and the mud, as was city crews and individuals, private individuals. And everybody's out there working hard, trying to get things back to where they were. And the city of Taft just keeps on trucking. So that's the way it went. And thank you very much for my time, Mr. Mayor.
I'm so sorry for passing you by. For all those who prayed for rain, next time we'll just stretch it out or break it up a little bit. Thank you for your prayers. Item number 8, department reports. Do we have any department reports tonight? Item number 9, city attorney statements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement.
No statements again. Okay. Item number 10, future agenda requests. Anybody have a future agenda request?
I do not have any tonight.
Not this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I just,
Okay.
Mayor?
Sure.
In Taft, we have a lot of fine organizations in Taft, trying to do good, public good for everything, and making things happen, helping our youth, disadvantaged and all. There's more something to look into, is if we have any public, like public lots are belong to the city that's not being used or available. We can use for nonprofits, can use it for a nominal fee, or to buy or purchase, or let them use it for a period of time till there's a use for it, resell it or something. I was wondering if we can use that for any nonprofit churches or anything that can use that vacant lots for the public good. If that's possible, or be made available.
That would be up to the city council.
That's
Are you talking about a lot in one of the neighborhoods we have?
Whatever they want to use.
Let somebody build temporary
Well,
housing?
they did that, then it got a COP, but it didn't have to be an ongoing deal. It's up to, it be made available or to use it. Like use
Well,
of
as
it.
long as the city can find public good in it, the city council can choose to do it. But I would suggest if someone has a proposal, that they write the proposal down and send it to city staff, and we'll get it to the council for consideration.
You know, somebody's spotted one of our empty lots somewhere and would like to do something with it, they can always contact city staff.
There's a lot of lots that I'll point out that we don't have total control over, because they're lots that we had things tore down and we have liens on, but there's many, many years before those properties will get turned over to us. And a lot of our properties are tied up in the former RDA that we are working on a long-term property management plan for. So there's not a huge amount of lots in the city that belong to us, but there are some.
Does the city keep a list of available or vacant commercial property?
Yes.
And that might be another option to consider?
We have a list of inventory of all property, either vacant or empty, the zoning, how big it is, who to contact.
That might be another way to...
Yeah, and on those lots, we have like uses or like, you know, for low-income housing or transitional housing or...
Yeah, it would be depending on where it's located and what the zoning is for that actual location. it would still go through the planning
Yeah, we
department.
can do a temporary CUP on them, say a church comes in or an organization comes in, wants to use it for...
Are you talking about like setting up a tent city kind of thing?
No.
Or no.
No.
What if
No,
somebody wanted one of our lots, but they would use it to build a,
I'm just throwing out there a possibility,
Center or something?
if open up to a nonprofit, if they, maybe want to build, use something for temporarily use. Not for a tent city, that would not go with me at all, period. I'd be, putting up with
well,
that.
like Mr. Jones said, if somebody has a proposal that they would like to come forward to the city and spotted one of the properties, and then we could sit down and
Well,
negotiate.
depending on where it's at, there's some uses that are not permitted, there's some that
Yeah.
are permitted by CUP, and there's some that are permitted by right, it depends on where it's at.
But I think a lot of people in our community, nonprofits or even the business people in town don't know what we all have available. Maybe they might want to put a house on it, or never could use it. What I'm trying to do is, there's a lot of organizations, Rotary or Seropolis or other, who might need to use the property for something. Like the Sharon Foundation might need a property for something, for build something for temporarily or permanent, or gift it to organization. But make use of it instead of being vacant there. It stimulate an idea that it can be available for either temporary or permanent, or sell it, or the price tag to it or something. We have
Some of the property we do keep for housing purposes because we do get grants from the state to build housing. I know we haven't done it in a while, but we do have some of the lots that are actually, some of them are too small for building anything on.
I know you think we have a lot more infill right now with all the lots that we have and the shortage of homes that we have in our city, but I just don't see anything happening quite
A lot
yet.
of the lots are 25-foot wide, which are too small to build in.
Is it something that they can put, like they call these mini homes or something?
Well, it would have to go through the planning department. It would definitely be a variance, but
Well, again,
everything's possible.
If anybody wishes to come forward to the city and make a proposal, they can contact our planning department, and then I'm sure Mark's got a list of the available properties and what the conditions are and who's what and what the players are, and could guide them through that process. Okay, anybody else have an agenda? I've talked to Mr. Jones about the Oil Dorado, and in the past we've kind of honored our former mayors, and I've asked him to look into the possibility of the city of Taft to have a luncheon during Oil Dorado honoring former mayors, and so I'm asking concurrence that the city look into that. We've already done some preliminary checking on what mayors are still around and who's available and that kind of thing. But I would like a concurrence that the city of Taft throw a mayor's luncheon during Oil Dorado.
Concur with that.
And we'll bring back the cost and all that.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, you're going to have the tent up there, or, have it at one of our local
Does that mean the
facilities.
former mayor's have to recuse herself from voting on that item?
I should think a small gift in the form of, a F-150 kind of affair. I'm not talking about anything really fancy.
It's the idea of just getting people back. It's not, there's no gifts or any contests or anything like that. It's just a matter of inviting the mayors to come back to Oil Dorado and then get together and talk about experiences and whatnot. So I have a concurrence from
Yes.
Mr. Cryer. Okay, so if staff will proceed with that and look into that and get back to us, I'd appreciate it. Okay, moving on to item number 11, consent calendar. Items 11 through 22. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the city council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items of consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? All right, okay, we'll move on. Here we go. Item number 11, the minutes of June 2nd, 2015, regular. Item number 12, payment of bills. Item 13, memorandum of understanding for water reuse study between the City of Taft, West Kern Water District, West Side Recreation and Park District, and the West Side Cemetery District. Item 14, reappointment of members to the Taft Planning Commission. That's a reappointment of Ron Oren and Bob Lycum. Item 15, approval of revived sick leave policy for the City of Taft. Item 16, ratification of election and recognition of employee organizations. That's recognition of the Taft Correctional Officers Association and the Taft Correctional Peace Officers Association as employee organizations. Item 17, landscape and lighting maintenance district number 1. Item 18, task order for W.M. Lyles Company to level weirs in the clarifier at the Federal Wastewater Treatment Plant. Item 19, Independence Day celebration on Rails to Trails, sponsored by the Taft Chamber of Commerce. Item 20, 2015 ADA Paratransit Plan. Item 21, scheduling of Taft Economic Opportunity Workshop. I think Mrs. Hill got that going. Item 22, resolution adopting a preliminary budget based on the 2014-2015 level of appropriations. Would any council person would like to remove an item from the consent calendar?
Number 13, please.
Item 13. Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22.
Motion.
Have a motion? Second. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Noor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller.
Yes. We'll go back to item number 13, memorandum of understanding for water reuse study between the City of Taft, West Kern Water District, West Side Recreation and Park District, and West Side Cemetery District. Mr. Jones.
Item 23.
Oh, we have item 23?
That's not on the
It's
consent calendar.
not on the consent
Yeah, it's not on
calendar.
the consent.
Oh, it's not, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Same thing, yeah.
Mr. Jones, item number 13, please.
Thank you, Mayor. In response to the drought conditions, staff of West Kern Water District has approached the City of Taft regarding the possibility of a wastewater reuse project. West Kern Water District currently provides a substantial amount of water for landscaping at the West Side Recreation and Park District, ball fields, and West Side Cemetery District. Those facilities consume a total of approximately 200 acre-feet of water per year. West Kern Water District is proposing the City of Taft, West Kern Rec District, and West Side Cemetery District partner with them to issue a request for proposals for a qualified firm to conduct a water reuse study to determine if it would be feasible to implement new treatment processes at the city's municipal wastewater treatment plant to provide treated water for landscaping at the ball fields and the cemetery grounds. West Kern Water has asked that each agency enter into a memorandum of understanding to partner together to conduct the reuse study, and each agency make a small financial contribution to the study. I will point out that West Kern Water said that they would make up the difference because it's more than $2,000 in.
For each agency?
They're just looking for a small contribution from each agency.
Okay, so the request is $2,000 from the City
They
of Taft.
requested $1,000 from us and from the county special district, but since we are partners with the county district, they don't need to vote on it. We'll just do $2,000 and then they'll pay for it.
Okay. Mr. Bryant, you had a question on this?
You know, my only question is probably more of a suggestion, was to suggest we speak to the Federal Bureau of Prisons and the operators of the federal prison out here, MTC, because that is, the wastewater treatment plant is owned by the city.
We have talked to them about partnering with us. They have approached us for using water for their cooling towers and for irrigation.
Good.
We had an initial conversation with BOP and with the contractors and with PG&E. I don't know how far that'll go. In the past, hasn't went very far with Bureau of Prisons, the feds, but we try.
I think the contractor may be willing, especially if there's some sort of cost savings in there, but again, they're going to want partnership from the city or from the district.
Yeah, again, the feasibility part looks at the cost associated because it's not free water. It costs a tremendous amount of water to clean it, to standards the state requires for reuse. So that's what the feasibility study is going to look at, is not only the cost for the installation of the filtration system, but also the ongoing operation cost and the increased cost for the operators, because it requires a higher level of operator to operate the system. So there is some substantial cost, so it's not free by no means, but that's why we're going to look at this feasibility.
Just because we're putting the water on the crop doesn't mean we can use it over in the ball field. It has to be cleaner water than that, is what you're saying?
That's why the crop's fenced in. It has signs that say what it is. People aren't allowed in there unless they're trained. The crops can only be used for they're feed and fodder crops for non-food producing animals, dry cows, horses, stuff like that. There is a higher level that comes with a lot of cost involved. That's why the feasibility study will identify those costs and let everybody know if it's financially feasible to do so.
And then there's what amount of water does the cemetery and the water recreation district use out there, based on, then the cost of setting up pumping, cleaning, and getting it up to them,
Yeah, it's a lot of
repiping.
electricity. All the wastewater flows downhill, so anytime you send it back uphill, it costs electricity to send it back uphill. And right now, just pumping to the irrigation fields, the cost can be pretty significant PG&E-wise. So definitely not free.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of grant money out there to build these facilities for reuse, water reuse. There's just no ongoing operation money. So that's what people are going to be strapped with. So essentially, the rec district and the cemetery district would still get a water bill. Might not be as much, but they would still get a water bill, and what we would get out of it is a water credit for taking them on freshwater, which would allow for more development water.
In the end, if I may, Mr. Mayor, if we face another drought year like we have the past several years, we're going to be looking everywhere for that last cup of clean drinking water. This is not an impossible task. The fact of the matter is, there was just an article in the paper about what's going on at Horse Thief Country Club up in Tehachapi. Horse Thief Country Club has always been the recipient of the effluent from that prison system's wastewater up there. However, they had a problem with it, and so Horse Thief Country Club has not been getting their water for some time, and they've been trying to get a hold of Federal Bureau of Prisons to figure out, when are you guys going to fix that? Because if we don't get that water within the next month and a half, basically they'll be closing the doors on the golf course. So I've played at many golf courses that use, purple sprinklers, if you will. So it's not an impossibility, but at some point in time, since we seem to be hell-bent on spending all our extra money, money we don't have, on trying to build a fairy tale land railroad from North to Southern California instead of trying to deal with the drought problem, we are going to have to clean some water. And it's been proven that softening and cleaning a brackish water table is less expensive than drawing water straight from the ocean. The salinity levels typically are much, much lower. So desalination plants and cleaning plants like that, but they cost money. At some point in time, whether you can drink or not drink, what are you going to do? You got to keep drinking water.
Supposedly, we're going to have an El Nino year next year, and everybody's going to forget about it, and the train's going to move on down the track. So
sweet.
Well, our water problems are going to be solved because it's going to rain next year. Was there any other comments you had?
No, that's my only suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Then we need a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding with West Kern Water District, West Side Recreation and Park District, and the West Side Cemetery District with the City of Taft to allot $2,000 from Capital Reserve for a wastewater reuse study.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Noor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller?
Yes. We move on to item number 23. Approve travel expense for council members to attend the League of California Cities Annual Conference. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. In August 2001, the City Council adopted a policy establishing procedures and guidelines for travel and certain expenses of council members. Pursuant to that policy, in order to be in compliance with the policy, it will be necessary for council to authorize expense prior to commitment for travel The proposed expenses need to be reviewed and authorized by the full council. 2015 League of California Cities Annual Conference is scheduled for September 30th through October 2nd, 2015 at the San Jose Convention Center. The conference will also hold their annual business meeting on Friday, October 2nd, 2015 at noon. To ensure the city of Taft is represented and has a voice at the annual business meeting, it will be necessary to select a voting delegate and to attend the business meeting. It will also be necessary to select an alternative voting delegate in the event the delegate is unable to attend the meeting.
Okay. Well, did anybody have a desire to go to the League of Cities this year? It's September, blah, blah, it's at the end of the month.
September 30th through October 2nd.
30th to 2nd, yeah.
I'd like to say that it's good for the new members to go. I encourage them, if they can make it, to make it.
Absolutely.
It's always, I've been gone, the last 3 years, and I seem to come out of it. Sometimes I had one bad experience, that'd be San Francisco, because it's pretty kind of agenda there, but I always seem to learn and meet a lot of people and other cities, and I meet some old friends from Pearl Valley, and some of the people I meet there, and other cities I do business with. It's always interesting to talk with people and stuff, and learn from other governments. You learn from other classes they have there. So I can encourage, if possible, all the council can make it. So.
I'd love to go, absolutely.
Okay, so?
I have to check what my schedule is at that time. I don't know offhand.
You gotta let them know, because it's,
I don't think it's probably going to be a workable time.
it costs more if you wait until after August. Mr. Knorr?
I have a scheduled conflict, Mr. Mayor, I won't be able to be there.
I had penciled this in. If 3 of us go, I think, Miss Hill would like to go.
Yeah, I'll have to check and see what's going on.
Okay. Well, the recommendation is, need a motion to approve and appropriate funds from the general funds for registration, meals, transportation, other incidental expenses for the council members who wish to attend the 2015 League of California Cities Annual Conference and the League of California Cities Annual Business Meeting in San Jose. And we have another motion. Well, let's do that second.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
You guys approving up to 4 to go then? Approve up to 4 members to go?
Up to 4, yeah.
That'll leave it so we can schedule if she wants.
Yeah. And if you wish to take a spouse along, you would have to make arrangements with staff, because that's a separate item that's on each member's. I think
we'll set you up with a fancy car too.
We won't be limoing up there. Okay, Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Noor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller?
Yes, so that's up to 4. That's approved on a 5-0 vote. Second motion I entertain is to select a voting delegate and an alternate voting delegate for the League of California Cities Annual Business Meeting. Now, this is usually at the end of the meeting on a Friday. Everybody bails out that Friday morning or so, and the closing deal is till about 2 o'clock.
Means you gotta check out your room and send back.
Yeah, so you have to check out, put in your car. But I've done that a number of times at the times that I've gone. But right now, we can pick somebody, and if it changes, we can change. So I would be glad to be the delegate for that.
I would nominate you to be the delegate.
I'll second that nomination.
Good, I slowly motor home. So I think Mr. Cryer is kind of in a rush to get back. So, okay, Madam Clerk, take roll call.
We need an alternate.
Oh, an alternate?
I'll be the alternate.
Okay.
I would make that motion.
Okay, we'll combine those 2 motions, and motion to select a voting delegate and an alternate voting delegate to the League of California Cities Annual Conference Business Meeting. Madam Clerk, take roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Noor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller?
Yes, and that passed on a 5-0 vote. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to a close of our regular business meeting, council meeting, but we are going into closed session on 3 items. Item A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated. That's always neat. Anticipated litigation. Government Code Section 54956.9B, 2 undisclosed cases. Item B, conference with property negotiator, city manager. Government Code 54956.8, 400 Hilliard Street, Taft, California. Item C, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. Government Code Section 54956.9A, City of Taft versus CDCR. Thank you, and